Guys, good to see you. I hope all is well with life, family, and business. And after today's video, your business is gonna be better off because I'm gonna show you how to put more money in your pocket, I promise you that. When it comes to dealing with the tricky spot, which is when a buyer doesn't close on the day they contractually agreed to close on, say they said they're coming in on the 30th to close, and then it gets to that day and they're not coming into closing and they're asking you to sign an amendment to give them more time. So this is a common situation that happens to rehabbers. Let's quickly address the wholesale card because some of you are just wholesaling houses before you move into the next stage of your investor evolution, which is where you graduate up to flipping houses. But let's just say that a wholesale buyer doesn't close. This is why you take a non-refundable earnest money deposit so you're not just left out in the wind completely. So there's other videos we talk about this, guys. But today what we're talking about primarily is retail fix and flips. So when we buy a house at a depressed price, put a bunch of money and repairs into it, force depreciation up, and sell it to a retail owner-occupant buyer. So what happens is this, guys. You spend a bunch of time and money fixing the house up. You're ready to get this problem property off your hands. You put it on the market, and right now, in this price point, say you bought it for 50, put 30, 40, 50 in it, and you're selling it for 125 to 150. There's a lot of buyers in this price point. A bunch of them are gonna be making offers. The first thing you need to do is make sure that they're pre-qualified and that they're prepared to close on this property and that they can close on the property, because a lot of times people accept an offer based on price. For example, you may have gotten an offer at 125, 126, 127, and 128. The offer at 127 may have been willing to put $2,000 earnest money down, but the offer at 128 was willing to only put $500 earnest money down, but they're not pre-qualified, or it just seems sketchy from the beginning that there's gonna be an issue, right, going forward with them. So a lot of people accept that higher offer. 30 days down the road, that buyer can't close. Now they just wasted thousands of dollars in closing costs trying to make an extra $1,000 on the front end. So first thing is, make sure you're working with a quality agent that you have confidence in, that they know that they're gonna be able to get this deal closed representing that buyer. Now, the second situation you're gonna come into, guys, down the road is, what happens if this buyer, say 5 days before closing, comes to you, or that agent comes to you and says, Mr. Investor, here's the thing, you know, we're still gonna close, don't panic yet. We're still gonna close on the property, but we need an extra 2 weeks. You can contact my lender, you can contact the title company, everything's okay. We just still need to get some documents in, we still need to get some paperwork in, and everything's gonna be okay, but here's this amendment, go ahead and sign this and get this back to us. And they just say it like it's supposed to happen, like it's no big deal, right? Here's the problem. It is a big deal. To that buyer, it's not a big deal because they just have 2 weeks before they can move in the property. For that agent, their profits just prolonged a little bit. For you, the investor who's carrying a property that's vacant, that has loan fees, taxes, insurance, water, electric, yard fees, all sorts of costs associated with it, your profit's going down every single day that that person doesn't close on the day they're supposed to close on. So I say, Mr. Agent, sure, that's fine. I'll give you 2 extra weeks. Go ahead and send the amendment over. Let me calculate how much it's gonna cost for my carrying costs for those extra 14 days, and I'll send this over to you here in a little bit, and we'll adjust the price as well. What do you think is gonna happen? That agent's gonna go, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this, because most investors just are ready to get the house sold and they just go ahead and sign the amendment. But what they just did is sign away money out of their pocket, because I'm gonna go to that agent, I'm gonna say, look, where's the problem? Almost every other agent out there and buyer could have closed in this 30 to 35 day time period. Something happened on y'all's side, not my side. Was it because the buyer didn't get any of the information they needed to you? Or did you just procrastinate and get caught up in the day-to-day business of being an agent and be working on finding more listings and more buyers for yourself instead of getting this one going through because you knew it was gonna get closed anyways, right? So you need to find out where the problem happened. Was it on the agent side of the business, or was it because those buyers didn't get what they're supposed to in time? And then you need to explain to that agent, be like, look, if you want more time to close this, it costs me money out of pocket. You need to figure out where that money's coming from, because I've got a bunch of backup buyers waiting to jump in and close on this property. They're super excited, and it doesn't matter to me because y'all put up earnest money agreeing to close on this date, and now you're asking for more time. Now, I don't want to take the house from you, that's not my intention, but I don't want you to take money out of my pocket because this is how I make a living for me and my family. So you simply explain it to them like that, and most of the time what happens is that agent's gonna call you or grumble and get off the phone. They're gonna contact you back and say, oh, guess what? Magically, we're gonna be able to close here in a couple days. Will you just let us close in? And if it's just a few days later after closing, guys, go ahead and give them a few days. But if they're asking for like a full extra week on top of closing, or 2 weeks especially, guys, they need to be paying for this, whether it's coming out of the buyer's pocket or that agent's pocket, and many times it's the agent's fault because they procrastinated, they didn't get the appraisal started, they didn't get the inspection process started, they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and they just don't want to admit it. and they could be making $6,000 on this deal or whatever their commission is. So they need to give up something too, because they can't just slack and procrastinate and cost you money. And they're gonna walk away from a commission, and all the time these agents will release part of their commission to cover this cost. Sometimes the buyers realize they made a mistake, and if they're smart individuals and they're honest individuals, they're gonna realize, yeah, we messed up on our side and we should cover the costs. So that's what we do. We ask them to cover the costs. I give them a few free days, and if they're not willing to close and they can't get closed in those few free days, they need to start paying for the amendment or the time period that's gonna cost us to amend the property and carry that property that extra time, and that's why we do this. Now, if you're working with a buyer and this is the only buyer you have, guys, don't press it. But if you have lots of buyers in the backup, I would get a little bit more aggressive with this, because it doesn't matter if they don't close, because you're gonna accept another buyer and you're gonna have that earnest money that they put up, and it's just gonna probably end up being better anyways. But if you're scared you're gonna lose that buyer, don't press the issue here in this situation. Just go ahead and give them the time to get it closed. But that's what I would say, guys, because if you're leaving $1,000, $2,000 every single time this happens on the table, what if you take that $2,000 and put it into a marketing campaign and found another deal that you could have wholesaled or flipped or bought as a rental property that made you a bunch of money, say another $40,000, $50,000 flip? Because you have to look at the way money compounds. It's not that you're just giving them $1,500 away and helping the deal get closed. You're walking away from opportunity cost of reinvesting that $1,500 into marketing and making a lot more money. So I hope that helps, guys. If they're gonna ask for an extension in the amendment period, you should ask them to cover your carrying costs. There's nothing wrong doing that. There's nothing, you shouldn't feel wrong doing this, because they should have got it closed on time. Now, if you're really pinching them and they didn't have enough time to close it, guys, use some common sense in this situation. Be fair with them as well. But if they're really just slacking, they need to cover that cost. I hope that helps, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.